Hey everybody, this is Jekar here with a battle report. This is a Grail Quest, Grail and Ogre practice game. So first up we've got our lists. We have the Dark Elf list, comps at a 15.9 on Swedish comp, level 4 on a Black Dragon with the Sword of Antiheroes and the Black Amulet, a Master BSB on a Manticore with Charm Shield, Heavy Armor, Sea Dragon Cloak Lance, Talisman of Preservation, so he's got a 1-up, 4-up, 18 Corsairs with Banner of Swiftness and Handbows, 2 units of Dark Riders, 14 Dark Shards, 24 Executioners with the Gleaming Pennant because I had 5 points left, 2 Bolt Throwers to round out my shooting capability, 11 Sisters of Slaughter with Standard Musician and Banner of Eternal Flame because I think that unit is awesome, and then my monstrous exception is 8 Trolls. That's just a part of the army that I get to take that it doesn't count towards your comp. It can be from Storm of Magic or whatever, so these are just the Storm of Magic trolls, and I'm going to use them to attempt to hide my general behind. Alright, now on to the Skaven list. The Skaven list comps at a 12.6, so it is much less than what I was running. He's got a Warlord with the Iron Curse icon, that's his general, the Warlord with the Fellblade and a shield, Chieftain BSB with the Standard of Discipline, 2 level 2 Engineers as his casters. One's got the Dispel Scroll, one's got the Warp Energy Condenser, 1 Engineer that's not a wizard but does have the dreaded Doom Rocket, 2 Rat Darts, 2 units of 45 Slaves, a unit of Storm Vermin that's really huge and has the Banner of Swiftness, 8 Gunner Runners with slings, poison, and the nets, so they don't have extra hand weapons, but they do make things in base with them -1 weapon skill, -1 initiative, which is really cool against elves. Like, that's an upgrade that I think should happen more frequently. Then we've got 2 units of Tinjazales with sharpshooters, a Doom Wheel, a Warp Lightning Cannon. He has a single Dragon Ogre, which is a single drop in the Storm of Magic. That's to hang out by his Doom Wheel and catch any stray bolts since it's immune. And then he has a Bale Taurus that has the Frenzy Hatred and 4-up armor save upgrades. Here is a picture of deployment. This is my left flank after Vanguards, and you can see the building right there is a pretty big building. Last time we went up to the Durham area for Brawler Bash, maybe it was last Grail Quest, we noticed there was a lot of big things in the middle of the table, so I tried to simulate that. My opponent was a little frustrated because I picked a really big building and put it there, but it is what it is. So you can see from right to left I have the 11 Sisters, a Bolt Thrower, my Vanguarded Fast Cav, some Dark Shards hanging out, a unit of Corsairs behind the building, my BSB on a Manticore is hanging out at the very back. He is hiding from 1 unit of Jaziles, and then there is my unit of Executioners that's 10 wide in front of him. Over here, kind of on the right flank, is a dragon, my 8 trolls. The trolls are not in a very big bus formation, but that's because I can't stop cannonballs because Skaven are ridiculous. You can see another unit of Fast Cav has Vanguarded up, and another Bolt Thrower and some scouting Gutter Runners that are, gonna make my life difficult. This is the Skaven deployment from my left. He has his Rat Dart, Doom Wheel, Dragon Ogre. I really like that conversion a lot. It's the Shoggoth with like Vermin Lord bits. I think it looks really good. Slave Bus, Jaziles, Bunker behind there, the Cannon, another Slave Bus. The unit that I sometimes use as a Bloodrack Shrine is the Bale Taurus. He didn't bring something on the right base size, so that's okay. Here is actually the second slave block. I think I called something a slave block that was actually the Storm Vermin in the other picture, and so for that I apologize. This is another slave block, another Rat Dart, and I guess he has 3 Rat Darts, but his list only has 2, so I'm not really sure what's up with that. Then he has another 10 Jaziles hanging out trying to shoot some characters. So we go ahead and I get the first turn, and you can see this giant building. Now, I did a little bit of a misdeploy. I kind of thought I was going to stick the Corsairs in the building, and then I decided I instead wanted to use them kind of as a secondary combat blockish thing. And so I'm swift reforming and moving them around. And I put the crossbowmen in that building. And this is where we realized a building in the middle is bad, because I'm now in close range of like absolutely everything, which I don't realize at this point. I still am measuring from their base right now, but like on my next turn I realize, oh, I'm like 13 inches away from everything, or 11 or 12 inches away from everything exciting. So you can see my characters are hiding from Jaziles and cannons. The sisters move up. They're not really scared of anything. The executioners kind of play hang back, and the Dark Riders move right up in front of the Jesiles. And I think to myself, I'm out of charge arc of the slaves. That's what the arc is there for. And so if the Storm Vermin want to charge my flank, that's fine. They'll be pulled way out of position, and I'll have a pretty good charge on them with the sisters. Or the executioners can have kind of a longish charge, but that'll be fine. Maybe I'll even flee. Who knows? I'll probably pop through the building. Everything will be okay. My trolls on the right hand side kind of move up a little bit as well. They're kind of scared of Betty. Betty is the name I give the Bale Taurus. You can see they've kind of moved up a little bit. You can see my BSB hanging out, and my Dark Riders moved out of the charge arc of the Gutter Runners and are just going to pepper them with the help of that Bolt Thrower. The goal for my Bolt Throwers on the flanks was to try and hit the Jesiles to kill them so that my general and everything could be flying free. The hill is big enough to give hard cover, especially with the trolls on it, to my Manticore, so that's excellent. So he's pretty hard to hit with those Jesiles. I think they need a 6. In Magic, I think that the sisters are going to have bad things happen to them, so I throw a Flesh to Stone, and he lets it go. He stops Throne and just lets Flesh through, so that's okay. So the shooting on this side of the board is hard cover from my Bolt Thrower, short range from these guys, but they moved, and then I'm still doing long range from the guys in the building, and I peel 3 guys off, so not really great, but it is what it is, and I'm okay with that. And they pass their panic test because their leadership like 8 or 9, so yeah, they don't care. Over here, shooting goes a lot better. I peel off 4 of them, and they of course pass their panic test, because usually Gutter Runners are pretty boss at panic tests, at least when my opponent plays. So here they are, brave as can be, and that makes me a little sad. So this is a picture of my opponent's turn 1. He is moved forward, and also I think this is during shooting. You can see he's chaffing me with a rat dart. The Doom Wheel moved backwards so that I couldn't get an easy charge on it. His Jesiles had really only one target. They shot my Dark Riders, who passed their panic test. That was nice. So I'm okay with that. The slaves kind of ignored me. The Storm Vermin ignored me and moved up a little bit. They really don't want to get in a fight with executioners, which I understand. Some other slaves moved over this way. Swift Reformman moved over this way. So, he's kind of abandoning that right flank, and that's okay, because the only things I have over there are fast and flying, or my trolls, which are pretty fast. Here you can see that he set up Betty, the Bale Taurus, and some redirectors there. And he shot with the Jesiles 3 of my Dark Riders off, and he didn't wound, I don't think, my Bolt Thrower. If he did, he only did a single wound, but I don't think he did any wounds to it. Oh, I'm sorry, he actually charged the Bolt Thrower. That's why it doesn't look like he did any wounds, because he charged, but it's hard to get in there on that hill. Now, I was thinking that he probably actually should have charged the rear of my Dark Riders, because I would have had to flee, so I would have already been fleeing, and if he contacted me or whatever, he would have killed me. I think they can win that fight with ranks and a 4-up armor save in my butt, and when he's shooting at me, he has a chance to cap himself in the face, because they're almost reliable guns. So I don't know. I'm not really sure how I feel about that. Looking back, I guess this might have been the right call, but I don't know. Not really sure. Alright, so after combat, he's killed me. He's taken nothing in return, and this is just where he ends up. Everybody's in a line with that guy who's still on the hill. So my turn 2, I declare a charge into his rear. I'm getting kind of froggy here. I'm not sure that 2 Dark Riders can take 4 Gutter Runners, but they can't stand and shoot, and if they flee, they're going to go off the board, so I'm going to give it a try. You can see that my Sisters of Slaughter took the bait, charged the rat dart. Everything else kind of moved up a little bit. My Dragon and Manticore are still hiding. You can see, actually I'm not sure you can see it from this picture, my Dark Riders have moved out of the way because I'm just going to try and shoot some more Jesiles. This is the turn I realize I'm within short range of the Jesiles with the guys in the building, so that's not going to end well for them, but I'm okay with that. Oh, I should really mention this. If you don't see the cannon there, I can't believe I forgot this. First turn, my Bolt Thrower over here on the left in the forest took aim. I must not have even been able to see the Jesiles. I took aim, I fired at the cannon, I hit it on a 4, I wounded it on a 4, and then I rolled a 6 for the number of wounds. So it does 3 wounds, picks up the cannon. That's just great. I can't complain at all. Just scoop 90 points and don't get shot with a cannon that makes me cry. You can see that shooting was pretty devastating, short range with these guys, and free arc of sight with the bolt thrower. There's 2 left. They passed their leadership 8 because they're like good ogre players. They can make that test, but they're pretty much combat ineffective right now. Or excuse me, they're ineffective at their job, which is fine. I'm okay with that, and I'm close to getting those points. Pretty much nothing happens. You can see that I pick up his rat dart and reform. Woo! Over here, man, that was great. I picked him up, beat him up, and didn't take any casualties. I think he did 1 wound, and I saved it on my 4-up, and I killed 1 or 2 and then ran the rest down, so that was nice. So this is a picture of my opponent's turn 2. He moved the Jaziles because he didn't have good firing arc on anything. He didn't really want to shoot the trolls. Either he can't see or he doesn't want to shoot at a 6 on my BSB. So he moves them up. You can see that the Bale Taurus has kind of moved around, and his rat dart fled from I think my BSB charged the rat dart, and that's why he's fleeing. He decided that the Bale Taurus didn't want to sit and take a charge from the trolls, so there was that. I think I lied. I'm pretty sure the Bale Taurus failed that frenzy check, had to charge the closest enemy unit, which ended up being the Dark Riders. So that's okay. It'll give my trolls the ability to move around a little more freely. You can see he's kind of measuring to the building. He's going to cast some nastiness at me. Everything keeps moving up. The Doom Wheel goes forward like 4 inches, so not a lot happens. I'm pretty sure that this is Warp Lightning that gets off either irresistibly or I just roll like a noob, and he evaporates all but 5 of my guys, or excuse me, my girls, my sisters. So that's not very fun. They had things to do, man. In a stroke of luck never to be duplicated by the Sustainable Center, this guy here, this engineer, fires the Doom Rocket, and he rolls 4 dice because he's 14 inches away. Statistically, he should get right in the middle there. And he rolled a 1, a 1, a 2, and a 3. So it goes like 7 or 8, it goes whatever that is, 7 inches, right in the middle there. So my executioners are high-fiving, and that Warlock is so fired. Words cannot express. So this Bale Taurus has Hatred and Frenzy and the Blazing Body rule, and he charges in the flank, does a single wound. He's hitting me on 3s with a reroll. He's wounding me on 2s. He didn't use his breath weapon, but he did a single wound. I stuck, and I was able to reform. Now, in the long run, this didn't turn out very well for me. I would have much preferred to actually die and have him overrun and just kind of block himself up, because now he's going to kill that last Dark Rider in my turn, be able to reform, and then charge on his turn. I would have much preferred to have my turn to move, and then on his turn, him have to reposition to deal with me, or maybe even fail that leadership check and have to charge the building. But it didn't happen. I think I forgot to mention these slaves charge into the building. They kill 3 or 4 of my crossbowmen. My crossbowmen kill 5 or 6 of them. So the slaves get pushed back out, but whatever, they're going to win that war of attrition. Here is my turn 3. The Corsairs don't charge, the Corsairs move up to block those slaves. I think the Corsairs can take the slaves. I'm going to shoot at them with my handbows. And the executioners kind of move up a little bit. The sisters reform. They may actually... No, not the sisters. The executioners charged the guy who was redirecting them, and he flees back through the storm vermin who don't care. My general on the dragon is not dead. I just couldn't fit the wings there by the building. She's sideways so that everything's within 24 inches. The trolls are within 18 inches of her leadership range, so they're leadership 9, which is good. And I have 24 inches to the sisters if I want to buff them, which looks like it may be necessary. Over on this side, my BSB hides behind the hill some more, so they'll need 6. The Jaziles will need 6s to hit him. And the trolls do a stupid thing and move over here like the Bale Taurus isn't going to kill my guy and turn to face them. Now, I already knew at this point that could happen. I guess for some reason I just thought I was going to beat a Bale Taurus with some trolls. I've rolled that out before. It doesn't work. I'm not sure what I'm thinking. And over here, I just run and hide. I couldn't really get out of the line of sight of the Jaziles, so I wanted to hide and then try again next turn, or maybe just keep these guys alive. I know they're giving up half points per Grail Quest rules, but they're not giving up. There's 50 points they're holding on to, and maybe I can use them for a last ditch, like redirect or rear charge or something later. So why throw them away uselessly? In my magic phase, I get regrowth off and I regrow a couple sisters. So yay, there's more than 4 of them. Now there's 9, I want to say. I might be wrong. 7 of them. So, I mean, some, and that's okay. Shooting, this is just to show that I got the last 2 Jaziles. So there's 410 points that I scooped up. And, yeah, things are looking like they're going to get started here pretty soon. As was always going to be the case, the Bale Taurus did about 8 wounds to my guy on my Dark Rider. So he turned around and he's looking at the trolls. And I'm just barely not enough in the forest to be not steadfast even. This is a terrible idea. I'm playing like a tool in this instance. If I had moved them back a little bit and given my BSB a flank charge on the Bale Taurus, that would have been a different that would have been different. I could have then flanked, had the BSB, he could have done some wounds, the Manticore could have done some wounds. I could have actually done something. But no, they're not. The flank of the Bale Taurus is going to be protected by the building. What am I thinking right now? So my opponent's turn, he of course charges Betty in. I think Betty because if Betty failed the frenzy check, he would have had to go into the building. So Betty goes ahead and charges the trolls, which is fine. They can't flee, and it's here that I realize I don't even have a flank charge. I'm beating myself up. The slaves take the bait and charge the Corsairs. The Dragon Ogre charges the sisters, and the Doomwheel doesn't get close enough. He rolls really crappily, doesn't even get there. So he'll be able to shock. I think he actually ends up closer to the Dragon Ogre than to the sisters, which is excellent for me, because for a while we thought it was the sisters, and that wasn't going to go very well. You can see everything else just kind of moves up. The bunker gets close up behind the slaves. The storm vermin are still kind of playing keep away. And yes, those are 2 wounds on his Fellblade Lord. This is turn 3. The Fellblade Lord has taken 2 wounds already. From the Fellblade, it just keeps trying to kill him. Just as brutal as I remember it. He kills 3 trolls? No. There's 3 trolls. So I reform so I have, I'll have a rank longer or something. I don't know. I'm getting more attacks at least. Luckily I do 2 wounds, and luckily I'm steadfast on a 9. Again, thankfully I'm not in the forest enough because I'm just such a terrible player that I almost did that. But at least my general is there, so I'm able to keep them within, fighting. So maybe I did 2 wounds, maybe I have a chance, I don't know. Corsairs peel off, I don't know, 6 of the slaves. They take no wounds in return, so that's fun. I enjoyed that. In the other slaves, I think, charged the building again, and my crossbowmen even lost that round of combat. They didn't kill very many, but they managed to stick because their leadership 9, stubborn with a reroll thanks to being in the building. So, I mean, at least they can roll that. This was really just no contest. They're always strike first. He has higher strength than the sisters, so they hit him on 2s with the reroll and wounded him on 4s, rerolling 1s. It was bad. He had no chance to survive. He made his time. So this is a picture of my turn 4. You can see I got up. I am not in their line of sight, so they won't be able to shoot me. I'm just going to plink a couple wounds off and kind of make my way over to the other side of the field because I don't think that this side of the field is really going to matter very much. You can see my BSB has moved around. I couldn't think of a good place to put him because, again, I've really screwed myself. I thought about moving my crossbowmen out of the building. There's some objectives of getting banners into your opponent's deployment zone. So I thought, oh, well, I'll get my crossbowmen in, out this turn on my 4, and then they'll be able to march and get in my opponent's deployment zone. But instead, I decided I needed to put my BSB there. Again, I'm playing this whole Bale Taurus thing wrong because I remember thinking, well, the Bale Taurus will have to overrun. The Bale Taurus isn't going to have to overrun. I guess I'm thinking the Bale Taurus is going to have to pursue the trolls. But I'm on a 9 with the reroll. The trolls are more likely to die completely than they are to flee. So I don't know what I'm thinking. This is just the worst. I finally get smart and just put a chariot base down. So the chariot base by the building is where my dragon is, and the dragon is just kind of hanging out. I moved the dragon so that she could be in 24 inches to maybe help the sisters out as they charge the Doom Wheel. The executioners, I believe, attempted to charge and rolled double ones. That happened once this game, and that may have been this turn. But that's okay. I think I can handle the Storm Vermin. My goal is going to be, the guy with the Fellblade can only kill 4 of me. I don't have multiple wounds or anything. So I'm going to let, and then I strike Simul with the Storm Vermin. I'm hitting on 3s. I'm wounding on 2s and re-rolling. So it's going to be kind of a bloody combat. But I'm hoping that I can get some life magic up when that combat starts happening and like heal myself or give myself a bunch of toughness or what have you. I'm not really concerned about the Corsairs. I think they can grind those slaves out, hopefully, since they cost like twice as many points. That's right. In shooting, we had 4 shots and 4 kills. Good shooting, guys. Those Jezzails passed their panic test, which is pretty nice too. But you know what? I'll take that. That's looking pretty nice. So in this combat, he doesn't have the breath weapon this time. He pulls off 2 trolls. I think one of them was carrying a wound, so he did 4 wounds. That's okay. I didn't do any wounds back. I stick on leadership 9 because I'm still steadfast. Luckily, this is my turn, so on his turn, if he kills them all, he can just reform and I can, deal with that. Or more, hopefully, he'll have to pursue the trolls and I can, get that thing out of my way. The slaves finally managed to plink a wound off of my Corsairs, who are slowing down. There's just so many slaves to cut through. I mean, they're like high-fiving and they're all using their crazy swashbuckling maneuvers and stuff, but there's just, seas and oceans of slaves just keep coming, so eventually somebody was going to fall. Sea Dragon Cloak can't save everyone. And over here, I charged the Doom Wheel. I have a standard. I want to say I did 1 wound to it. I didn't do very many. It broke because it's not within range of the general, because remember the guy with the Fellblade isn't the general, and I ran it down. It rolled like an 8 and I rolled like a 9, so I'm past the Storm Vermin. They can't see me, and I've got a Doom Wheel, so that's fun. Also, in my magic phase, since I didn't take a picture, I regrew some more of those people, so that's fun. The sisters are at full strength and have killed a couple things and are now in the backfield, so look at that. In my opponent's turn, he turned the Clan Rat bunker around so that it wasn't going to get a flank by the BSB on the Manticore. The other slaves turned to face the Manticore and went forward, which you'll see in a different picture. They actually are still, now they're like 8 wide or 9 wide instead of 9 deep, but they did that so the bunker unit could move and try to stop people from charging. The Storm Vermin didn't really do anything, and the Engineer cast Scorch and killed some more of my sisters. So, I mean, I can't even keep those people on the board for anything. The Storm Vermin are barely out of my charge arc with the sisters, though, because that was a fight I would take. And the trolls die. The Taurus chases them down. I've done no more wounds to that thing. Whatever. It is what it is. I made a terrible play. And I didn't help myself with their positioning or what. I deserve this, is pretty much what I'm saying. The slaves step it up and kill 2 more Corsairs. The Corsairs attack back and kill enough to stick around. I want to say I actually lose this round of combat by 1, but thankfully I stick, because that would be pretty ignominious if I got run down by those slaves that I was so cavalier about earlier. So this is my turn. You can see I've swept around the Jezzails. I'm going to keep trying to pump some shots in them while also getting closer to the backfield to put some pressure on the characters. I know that 2 Dark Riders are unlikely to do a lot against characters, but a lot of his characters don't have any kit, and so if I get lucky, I can punk them out, especially like the BSB and the Wizards. Here is a great big Fustercluck. So my general could hit the rear flank there of his sideways bunker. Now she has the Sword of Antiheroes, and there's 4 characters in there, so that's going to go all right. My executioners make it into the Storm Vermin, so that's going to go well. My sisters turn to look at the Storm Vermin. My Manticore goes into the front of those slaves. I think I thought that that was going to go better for me. I'm not really sure. For some reason, I thought I was going to kill them really quickly. I didn't, I forgot that the Manticore has 4 attacks and the guy on top has 3 attacks. So it's not like I'm generating a crap ton of attacks. So that was actually not going to work as well as I thought, but it's okay. It is what it is. So awesomely, in this turn, I pop the slaves. So my Corsairs turn and look at things. They're thinking, oh, this is going to be fun. And you can see I've done some damage with my BSB. My general took no wounds. She charged, she hit the flank, and she did max overkill. She had 5 attacks that hit on 3s with the reroll and wounded on 2s with the reroll because of murderous prowess. So she did 4 or 5 wounds, and so I actually won that combat. They stuck because they're steadfast. They reformed to face me. And in the magic phase, you can see down there I have the card. I got Flesh to Stone off on my Executioners. In that Executioner combat, you can see I lost 3 or 4 Executioners, and I killed the Fellblade guy, and the Storm Vermin didn't do anything, and I killed a bunch of them. They stick around because they're steadfast, and I reform a little bit because I'm at the point now where 10 isn't going to help me a whole lot, so I go down to 7, which is the maximum that are in contact. So it looks like I skipped a picture of his turn. I think in his turn the only thing that happened... No, this is a picture of his turn. I don't know why my sisters are in this combat then. I'm confused by this picture. I'm sorry. Essentially, his Bell Taurus charged my BSB in the flank, and that was bad. And I'm just slowly eating characters in the challenge with my general who has the dragon, and I'm slowly losing attacks, but that's okay because at the point where she gets 1 attack, then the dragon gets to go, and that'll be okay too. It'll make up the difference. So the Jaziles reformed, and I've killed one of them, but that's okay. They're going to try and shoot me on their next turn, which is fine. I'm fine. This unit is 410 points. I have half points for it now, and it's essentially been looking at a 100-point unit the entire game, so I feel like I'm playing up on points. So in this round of combat, I pop the Storm Vermin. As you can see, I killed the BSB with my general. I think at this point is when I start to get to the dragon attacks because my general is down to like 3 strength 5 attacks, and she's just not killing the characters anymore by herself. The Corsairs have come into the front, and that's just going to add combat res and help my general be awesome. So I think the confusing picture from before was actually just that the Bell Taurus hadn't charged me yet. At this point it does. I turned to face it after I blew up some slaves. They didn't have a reroll. They rolled like an 11 and they exploded. The Bell Taurus charges into me, so that's not going to go very well. I keep thinking, oh, maybe I can do a wound or something. I don't know, I'm the BSB. Maybe I can tank this. That doesn't, spoilers, that doesn't happen very well. These guys kill 1 Dark Rider. They can't kill the second one. And of course, I pass my panic test to deny them any more points. So it's just insult to injury here. So since this is turn 6, I think, well, of course I'm doomed. Maybe I can live through this. The Bell Taurus Blazing Bodies doesn't cause any wounds. I'm thinking, great, this is excellent. 5 attacks, 6 attacks, targets my Manticore, hitting on 4s with the reroll. Hits 5 times, wounds 4 times on a 3. I was like, come on, I need 3. So kills the Manticore, thunderstomps my BSB to death, rolls a 6 for number of hits, and just my BSB can't stand it, and just totally kills him, gets like 300 points or something. Thanks BSB for not being able to handle that. But I can't complain too much because as you can see, I completely obliterate the unit that has his general. So I've got all of the characters, the bunker, all the slaves, all the storm vermin. So essentially everything except for half points for the Jaziles on the right and the Bell Taurus I have points for. So yeah, and he has points for my BSB, my trolls, 1 unit of Dark Riders, and that's it. So it's a pretty stunning victory for the Dark Elves. So like I said, this was a pretty stellar victory, and I just have some quick post-game thoughts. First, I got to play better. I know that I harped on this a lot. I really didn't pay much attention about the trolls. Like, I just kind of gave those points away. This could have been an even bigger win if I had played those trolls more intelligently. I didn't think about short range when I was in the building for a turn. That could have changed some things around. I think overall I did some smart things. The general into the bunker of the Skaven that gave her all of the attacks was actually pretty cheeky and well done. Like my BSB even into the slaves seemed like a silly thing to do. That was dumb. I could have just moved him around and had him attack the bunker and not given up those points either. I mean, so even in good things that I did, I could have done them better, and that's just I have to tighten my game up a little bit. I have to think about what I'm doing, about what I want to accomplish, and about how to not give points up. That's just I've been playing for a long time. I've been playing pseudo competitive ish. I mean, I've been going to tournament type stuff for about 3 years. I'm still working on that. I am not a very quick learner. But better lucky than good. I mean, my trolls held up the Beltors for a while. Betty could have easily blew through the trolls and just started wreaking havoc through my lines. I'm glad that didn't happen. Um, I did lots of good things. I had lots of luck passing panic tests to keep screwing the Jaziles up and stuff like that. I managed to kill the gutter runners in the rear without taking any casualties. Just things that probably shouldn't have happened did happen. I killed the cannon on the first turn. So I'm also not really sure what to do with the Jaziles. They have 36-inch range. They're strength 6 armor piercing. They're a great way. My opponent and I, discussed it. We really think that's the way that Skaven have to reliably deal wounds to big scary monsters. They hit on fives though is the problem. At over 18-inch range, they hit on fives. So if you deploy them on the line, you're hitting on fours most of the time, but you only have 2 turns to shoot. They can't move and fire, so they can't, swift reform and then keep shooting. So that hurts them. And they have a really big footprint. So that hurts you trying to, condense your army. And they have poor leadership because they're Skaven and they don't have ranks. So they have pretty crappy leadership, cause a couple wounds, they can flee. So while I think they're good, they give a lot of punch, they don't really, I don't know, I'm not sure they're really good enough for 20 points a model. I don't know. I want them to be worth it because I think that that's good. I think Skaven need a little reliability, but I'm not sure that that's the answer. I'm also not sure that Lore of Life is the right answer for this list. I like to be able to regrow things. I like to be able to give flesh to like the Executioners. But honestly, I keep thinking that Light might be better. Light has some magic missiles to help me shoot things. Light has Foz to help me to protect me from war machines. Light has buffs that I can use. I mean, Time Warp, not really effective, except for making me faster and giving me an extra attack, which, oh no, those are terrible things. I mean, ASF doesn't help, but whatever. Light of Battle is fine to make my smaller units unbreakable, or to, keep my trolls doing what they're supposed to be doing if I have to run my general away for a turn or something, or rally stuff that's a single model. I don't know. I think that Light may be how I go from now on. I know that's going to hurt some people's feelings. I'm talking about Lore of Light on Dark Elves, but just deal with it. If High Elves can take Death and Shadow and do so regularly, I can take Light and I can enjoy it. Finally, Grail Quest. Ho! The Bromancers, not myself. I actually had some real life stuff come up. I can't make it up this time, but the Bromancers are headed up to Grail Quest. I think there's going to be some reports done. I hope so. I'm kind of badgering them a little bit. So stay tuned for those. I know they're going to do really well. We've all been talking about it forever. We've been practicing. These are just a tiny fraction of the games that we've been doing to prepare, and so hopefully you guys can get to live those games as I can through the stories that we tell in these battle reports. Anyway, thanks for watching, and goodbye.